Joining me today on the show is Council.
Yeah, that's okay.
Godiva.
Yeah.
At I'm Godiva on Twitter. Welcome to the show. Good to see you. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has.
And I see the hair, you know.
Yeah, it's working for me. It's
I know.
working.
Your hair was so short.
But
A lot can happen.
A lot happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Did she kill your cat?
How?
No,
Okay,
no.
Oh, hell no. And Benja, who is on Twitter at Sbworld. Welcome to the show, guys.
Good to be on the show.
First of all, this is an exciting segment we've created. It's called The Timeline. And we just want to, wrap up the week.
Okay.
But let me first ask individually, both of you, what has stood out for you?
For me, what has stood out this week has been a number of things, right? First of all, there was the Paris attacks that happened. Of course, it happened, I think, earlier in the week, but it has continued to trend throughout the week because it's affecting events all over the world, not just in Paris. And then, of course, the student protests that are happening worldwide, in South Africa, in the United States, whether it's against racism on campuses or against exorbitant fees for universities. Then, of course, the campaign in Uganda has stood out for me, just following the candidates and seeing all the drama that's ensuing as they go to these.
I checked out some of your Twitter feeds and you wanted Winnie Byanyima to run for president.
Of course, Byanyima 2021.
I hope she's hearing you. Benja, what has caught your attention?
The things that have caught my attention are a bit different. Charlie Sheen, that was one. We've grown up watching this guy, and a couple of us kind of admired his lifestyle. So
he's the alpha male.
No, he was
the coolest guy.
So that kind of caught my attention. There's a few other hashtags on Twitter. Of course, the Uganda Decides, that one without a doubt has been all over the place. Photoshopping, crowds and all these things, Other than that, there was a little trend earlier on, something about Alonso, places Alonso would rather be. That was a very hilarious one as well.
That was interesting.
Yeah, during the Brazilian Grand Prix, the qualification, his car kind of got a bit of, a problem. So he fell out. And he decided to just chill, relax and lean back. So guys created pictures here and there. Other than that, the issue in Burundi, the stuff that's going on in Burundi, that has also kind of caught my attention. Not just because of the people who are dying, but how the world is kind of starting to somewhat wake up, albeit a bit late, but they're starting to wake up. And people are kind of getting into the whole let's use social media for a good cause. So those are, some of the trends that have been.
And there's the Ugandan thing, Welcome One, with young Ugandans saying they're willing to welcome at least one Burundian into their home. I think that's a really great initiative.
It is. Of course, quite naturally, if there is a pretty Burundian out there.
They don't have to be pretty. Oh my God.
The place is open.
Jeff is a liar.
Indeed.
All right, let's talk about, first of all, Uganda. Uganda Decides. The campaigns have been all over. We've had debates from numbers don't lie. That has been a huge conversation. Do the crowds actually matter or not? To some presidential candidates having children at their rallies. I saw the battle on Twitter. To who brings the best on the table for the different age groups. Godiva, I don't know if that will... okay,
No,
you're allowed to mention who you support? No.
I don't even have somebody that I'm supporting.
No,
yet.
you may have what happened to the artists. And then you start.
No, I'm definitely following what's happening with the campaign.
What has stood out for you as far as Uganda Decides?
What has stood out for me, because this part of the show is called The Timeline, right? Is that people have been making all these statements about how social media is irrelevant and how we're just a bunch of people with our phones clicking away and not influencing anything at all. But if you look at all these arguments that have been going on among the different political parties, whether it's about crowd size or whether people at the campaign venue are smiling, these are all things that are happening because of what people are saying online. For example, when they posted a picture of Bebe Cool performing, I think it was in Arua, and the crowd was like this. No one was smiling. Then a tweet tweeted and he's like, look at the people in the crowd, they don't look very happy. The next day we see NRM posters, NRM pictures with people like this, you know, with all their teeth out.
Got a ripple effect,
So so we can't say that social media is not influencing the way that the campaigns are being done. Although I wish that we could focus on more than just the size of the crowd, whether the crowd is smiling, who has a helicopter and who doesn't. I feel like we're kind of reducing the campaign.
We're trivializing
this. Yes, we're trivializing it, and yet it's extremely important. This is the first time that I've seen Ugandans with all this energy going into an election. People actually might believe that things can change, you know. So if we could just focus more on the issues rather than what the candidate was wearing and which candidate they abused, you know, I think that would definitely make it a lot better.
For me, this election, first of all, I agree entirely with Godiva. It's everybody's getting involved, and the online community. As always, we follow trends, but we also set trends.
That's true.
One of the reasons why these candidates have gotten on their feet and each person has a social media team is because suddenly they realize that if you're having a campaign, let's say in a patch or you know, Kitgumo or wherever, the world can know what's going on in real time. You know, you share pictures, you share audio, you share video, and that for me is something that all these candidates have to latch on to. My problem though is, for instance, the doctoring. People will always see into it. You doctor something, you doctor a picture, you doctor maybe audio or whatever, but at some point, if somebody realizes you've doctored it, they have less respect for you. Right? So as much as you want to benefit from, let's have a bigger crowd, let's Photoshop, and at the end of the day, people realize that you're Photoshopping. Even the few who are some hope in you are thinking, also maybe we don't really have that much of a crowd, you know? That's the thing. And the other thing that I kind of take away from this campaign is just yesterday, Lukwago, he's back, he's back. And he's got an army. Right? Not like an army, no, but it's got like an army online. So when Lukwago comes back on the scene, and then people are talking, people now start remembering that, this is the guy who was in Kampala. So what were the issues back in the day? What were the pertinent issues, or the roads, or the markets, or now the issues that had been relegated to the background now come to the fore. When Besigye is having his rally, people are asking, so what were his issues in 2011 and 2000? And those issues come to the fore when Babazi is speaking. So I feel like social media is a very good platform, for issues to be raised, and also for the world to kind of see, so does this person have a bit of sense? Do they? So it's happening.
Right.
It's happening.
At least that is happening. So Uganda Decides is a huge hashtag, and that's the one we're using for the 2016 general election. So make sure you get on there. And NTV has a hashtag called I Move Uganda. We are asking you to task these people to make sure that they address the issues that you're interested about, you know. So make sure you do, whether it's sanitary pads or salaries. Make sure you follow that. So Uganda Decides was interesting. Then we had Cranes Namutima. That was a huge
Cranes. Me, without even blinking or thinking twice, I think this is one of the juiciest times to be a Ugandan. I was in Nambole, and euphoria doesn't even begin to explain what happened. First of all, Togo is no small country, you know. When you beat Togo 1-0 away from home, you think, okay, so we are actually good. But when you thrash them 3-0, that's a different story. And as a person who loves the Cranes to death, first of all, I was impressed with their entire performance as the Cranes. But I was also impressed that Ugandans actually rallied behind them. In the recent years, we've not performed too well. So people kind of lose hope. They're thinking, shall we perform? But for some bizarre reason, everybody forgot the past. Sorry about that. Listen, Mom, I'm on TV, So, everybody forgot about the past, right? And suddenly, it's like we have never failed. There's this renewed hope. It's brilliant. And not just that, but also because this fella called Farouk Mia, he was named on the BBC, 11 players who Africa would front, let's say, if we had a team as Africa, he's on the team.
One of them.
That's how good it is. So it's awesome. Brilliant.
We're doing well.
Yeah, we are.
We're doing well. That's awesome, man. I've been, yeah, like you said, it's one of the best times to be a Ugandan.
It is. It is.
Yeah, it is. So, what other hashtag has been trending in Uganda for you? Yesterday, I was told about Uganda's longest buffet table. Did you guys catch that? You didn't see?
No, I saw it. I saw it. Listen, anything that has to do with food, I will know about it. I will know about it, Ugandans are becoming tasty people, you know, whether it's food or it's wine or it's movies or it's fashion. We're getting classy. Yeah. So I got that, I passed by.
He's getting classy.
It was nice.
But you guy, you're a fox.
No,
because I asked you whether you're going, and you said
no. I told you. I told you I wasn't sure. Right? I was busy. I told you I wasn't sure. But who am I to turn down food? Really, you know. But it was nice. It's a sign that the class here in Uganda is getting elevated. It's getting elevated. It's very impressive stuff.
Is that a good thing?
It is extremely. Come on. I mean, if you go to Paris, is that how they pronounce it?
Paris.
There you go. If you go to that place,
where did that come from?
There are specific places where you can taste particular wines. Where you can taste particular foods. We need that in Uganda, so that when somebody is traveling from any Scandinavian country and they come to Uganda, they don't feel like they've gone to Mars. You know, they feel like, oh, this is also home. So we are getting there.
And I don't think that there's anything wrong with a society becoming a bit more cultured.
No, there's
because
nothing
that's
wrong
what
with
it
it.
is, right? Because it's not just about Ugandan culture. Now we're also embracing other cultures. And I saw earlier, I think the head of the tourism board was being interviewed, and those are things that are important, right? Because even when people are away from home, they might want to be able to experience that one bit of home, you know? So I really appreciate that this is something that we are getting involved in. So next time, invite us, please.
It
was all over social media. He's the one who told me about it.
But anyway, we also have been having the World Toilet Day, which was yesterday. The toilet.
It coincides with International Men's Day.
So is this, at this point, am I allowed to say shit? Because listen, I can justify it, because there's a new app that they've created called the Give a Shit app. You know, around the World Toilet Day, around sanitation, because I think a lot of people around the world don't have access to toilets and these, you know.
Why
so they've created that app.
One chairperson in Ruengo district beats people. So you see some of those magnificent toilets on the screen there. We're going to have that picture up. They look shining. Toilets.
Although I don't approve of people being beaten for not
having toilets. So this app, tell us about this app.
No, I don't really know much about it. I just saw an article on Upworthy about it. It must be on Google Play and in the App Store.
I think though that the real intensity, the real value of this World Toilet Day, first of all, its history is in sanitation, right? So they figured if you say World Sanitation Day, it's probably going to sound boring. Or if you say World Water Day, it's going to sound maybe twice as boring. So let's say World Toilet Day. People are going to be like, okay, so what's this about? And it's kind of raised, you know, eyebrows left, right, and center. So people are asking, so what's this thing about? The whole idea is to improve sanitation, especially in places where there is no clean water, you know, there are no toilets. That is supposed to be, that's, well, the idea. Now it coincides with International Men's Day, which is it's a coincidence,
which is
like
not
absolute coincidence. No,
I don't know how International Men's Day is a thing. Every day is Men's Day.
Why? No, listen, International Men's Day absolutely should even be a public holiday. Listen, if somebody is campaigning for presidency, if you want my vote, make this day a public holiday.
Bernard, please explain the logic behind International Men's Day and juxtaposing it with the logic behind International Women's Day. Please explain it to me.
Listen, for International Men's Day, that is the one day I would think, because if I'm assuming I'm in a relationship, assuming I'm in a relationship, we put 50-50 into it, right? We do the dishes together, right? we clean the house together. On International Men's Day,
you're going to die in this
I'm not going to do a thing. Because on International Women's Day, she doesn't do a thing. It's as simple as that.
But how many men can you talk about?
I don't speak for them. I speak for myself.
So you know you're going.
So you're saying that every other day you share all these tasks, you share all these chores with your partner, and then on this one day that's when you sit back.
Absolutely.
Bernard, I think you're taking us for a ride.
They should be.
So basically, what he's saying is that the
picks you from work, takes you home, you know, she brings you lunch, and yes.
But they do that every time.
Yes, you see, every day is Men's Day.
You're just joining us. Bernard and Godiva joining me this morning on the timeline. We're looking at what has been trending this whole week, and locally not a lot. Well, the International Men's Day, Uganda decides cranes, Namutima, cranes to feed out.
Power to the cranes.
Proud to be Uganda. Yes, so in fact, a round of applause for Uganda cranes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope we are not going to do any more mathematics. Yeah,
no. We probably won't.
So I hope we won't do any mathematics. But on the other side, let's start with one of the most tragic, events, and it has caused a lot of talk on why is the world concentrating on Paris, but tragic there.
But so the Paris attacks, right? It's a tragedy.
Yes, it is.
Terrorism is a terrible thing. We all understand that. But I can definitely understand where all the people who have been raising all these complaints about how the media focuses so much on the Paris attacks when there were attacks in Beirut on the same day, right? Look at what has been happening in Burundi. We haven't gotten the coverage that the Paris attacks got. And I think about 160 people died. Was that 160?
That's what the
and yet
law said even,
our girls have not yet been brought back by Boko Haram. So I definitely understand where the people who are criticizing Ugandans who put that Paris filter as their profile pictures and display pictures.
Maybe they had
but I don't think there's anything wrong with people identifying.
No, I did. and
he did, and he put up this rant.
And I had a mini rant. Here is my issue. Yeah, if first of all I own the profile, right? Nobody does. Secondly, when I put up a picture because I'm sharing in somebody's pain, I don't think there should be selective sharing in pain, right? If my neighbor is hurting, I don't have to be next to them for me also to feel the hurt. They may be miles away. I feel the hurt, so nobody decides how much pain I feel. Right?
It's
and then,
your own.
And then the other thing is all these people who have been making noise, so you guys, you didn't change your flags to Burundi, you didn't. Listen, these are people who did not say a single thing about Burundi, but now suddenly they want to speak about Burundi.
That's
right?
true.
So I'm thinking
the hypocrisy
if I in the past have actually talked about Burundi, if I have complained about what's happening in Beirut, I talked about the earthquakes in Japan, I've been talking about these things. Why should I not talk about Paris as well?
Yeah, exactly.
That's one point, and the other point is Africans died in Paris.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
So
that's true.
Why should I be castigated for feeling remorse, for being sad for another person? Exactly. I don't see any point in it.
And also, just to add on to that, right, I just want to give you a quote by one of my favorite feminist authors, Audre Lorde. She said that there's no such thing as a single issue struggle because we don't live single issue lives, right? Exactly. So I can grieve for Burundi while grieving for Paris while participating in the protests online with the students in South Africa, So there's no such thing as...
The hurting thing is when the Garissa attacks happened, people in Paris lined up the streets and said, we are with you, Kenyans. We are with you, in Garissa. And there were all these pictures. Je suis, is it Nairobi? Je suis something, all these things. And I'm thinking, guys, why do we? Why do we forget this so quickly?
Yeah.
And then suddenly we are blaming people. Facebook, this whole Facebook thing. That's like a drop in the ocean.
No, but we cannot ignore that these things, some of those complaints that were raised are actually valid. That's the reason why the Black Lives Matter movement exists, right? Because we recognize that some lives are valued more than others. So of course that should be pointed out.
I'm spent on time, so we have about 5 minutes to get this done. But this was also another trending story. Hashtag Charlie Sheen. Actually, here is Charlie Sheen on NBC's today's show as he, you know, disclosed something interesting. Watch.
There are a lot of rumors out there right now, and you would like to address them head on, so I'll give it to you. Go ahead.
I have to, yeah. I'm here to admit that I am, in fact, HIV positive. And I have to put a stop to this onslaught, this barrage of attacks and of sub-truths, and very. I was emergency hospitalized. I thought I had a brain tumor. I thought it was over. After a battery of tests and spinal taps, all that crap, they walked in the room and said, "Boom, here's what's going on." It's a hard 3 letters to.
3 letters. Did that surprise you that Charlie Sheen had HIV?
It's not that it was something that I had thought about before, right? So it wasn't like a surprise, like, oh my God.
He will get HIV.
Exactly. So it's not really something that I considered as a surprise, because a lot of people in the world have HIV, right? People are living with HIV all over the world. But I'm very happy about the way that mainstream media has covered this one issue, because the compassion that has come through the stories that are being told about him, and also the fact that he was being blackmailed. You know, he was being blackmailed. He said he paid, I think, about $10 million. That's what he said. So that shows us that we still live in a world in which HIV and AIDS are very, very stigmatized. That somebody like Charlie Sheen would feel the need to pay somebody, you know, to not reveal their HIV status. So I just wish that the compassion that has been extended to him would be extended
the same
to
compassion.
Because when people found out that Magic Johnson had HIV, the reaction was definitely not like this, you know. But I like the fact that HIV awareness is growing all over the world, and I think that this is going to be one of those moments that we look back at, like, this is the moment when something changed, because people will pay attention to something happening to Charlie Sheen.
2 minutes.
Like I say, Charlie Sheen is one of those people who many guys used to kind of look up to, and I mean, you know, he's got ladies left, right, and center, live a good life, and so this news was well, shocking, you know, to say the least. Not so much shocking in terms of his lifestyle, but shocking. I mean, it's Charlie Sheen. It's Charlie Sheen, you know. I think, though, like she says, it's good that everyone has woken up to the reality that anyone can get HIV/AIDS. And the other thing that people don't realize is there's about 1 in I think 8 people who don't know their HIV status, and the risk they stand is not just with themselves, but they risk spreading it for their partners and the rest of the world. So going out there and testing should be like priority for everyone, not just because you've lived a promiscuous life or whatever. But you may have safeguarded your life, but your partner probably hasn't, you know. So go out there and test yourself, so that at the end of the day we have more people knowing their HIV status, and we can all be safe.
Get tested and have safe sex.
Get tested. That's what we'll leave you with this Friday. Bernard at B-Wall and at Godiva.
Do you have to can't you like get a hug? Maybe off. Yeah.
Make sure you stay with us. When we come back, this guy called Darren, who is a Crane fanatic, dressed like Charlie Sheen almost, without the shorts, is coming here to give us more updates on as far as the sport is concerned, what's happening on the weekend, and do stay with us. We'll be right back.